Hello everyone, welcome to another gameplay channel. It's time to finally tell about my feelings from Tarisland. I've been playing in this video for a long time, but as we know, not everything goes according to plan and the video comes out with a big delay when everyone has already discussed the game for a long time. In any case, if you are interested in this video, don't forget to subscribe to the channel, put a like and share this video with your friends, as there will be a lot of useful information in this video. Also, at the beginning of this video I want to say once again that I will never praise the game on my channel if it is complete shit, even for money. I'm here to tell truth about games, and when I ask at the end of each my videos to ask me questions in the comments, it's not just to say something. I'm really here to tell you about games and show you what they really are, so that you can spend time in the game with pleasure and not spend money on buying any game and then get disappointed in it, as happens in 90% of cases. Let's start from the beginning. Tarisland is more a mobile game than a PC game, and it is designed specifically for people who will play from mobile devices. This is understandable based on the limited set of character skills, since there are too few of them for the MMORPGs we are familiar with. It is also clear from the fact that the game has a set of daily missions that will be convenient to perform once a day from a mobile phone, and even sitting on the toilet, as the vast majority of players do from a phone or tablet. There is also a restriction on work points that end so quickly that you don't even have time to figure out where they disappeared after a couple of collected resources. This is done so that the player cannot worry about lagging behind other players in progress and could freely enter the game a couple of times a day to use these work points, which are called vigor here. And of course optimization. I can't say that the game is optimized for mobile devices, as many have complained that the phone runs out of battery during the game even when it is charging, but on PC the problems are much more noticeable. I can say that I have top components on my PC, but my 3070 GPU has always been loaded at 99%, which is naturally abnormal if you take into account what picture quality I saw on the screen. Let's be honest, this is not an next generation graphics, okay? And finally, this is all the text that we can see on the screen. The only text that I could look at without looking closely is the text in the dialogues, which I constantly skip since I am not a fan of delving into the history of the game. I had to look at the rest of the text quite closely, and there were places where I could see this text only after I took a screenshot and already brought the screenshot closer. There is no such problem on mobile devices, since the text is optimized specifically for the mobile version of the client. Oh yes, I forgot to mention the publisher of the game, which actually provides us with account registration. This is a level Infinity Pass, which deal exclusively with the games that are available on Android and iOS. I still haven't figured out why a giant like a Tencent decide to use a third-party publisher to register accounts and publish their game. Next, let's talk about characters and character creating. There are enough classes in the game for a game that is just beginning its journey. We know about the classes Paladin, Warrior, Barbarian, Mage, Archer, Bard, Priest and Assassin, which was unavailable to us on the closed beta test, but for some reason the developers decide to play for this class without giving us the opportunity to try this class. I'll tell you more about this later. All characters look normal, nothing new and unique, but unfortunately there is a binding to the gender of the character, which was very negatively perceived by most MMORPG fans. I don't understand why the developers haven't give up on this idea yet, and unfortunately I'm 90% sure that this will not change in the future. I have heard this question from my viewers and subscribers many times, and I understand that for many it is really a very important question. But we have what we have, and unfortunately most likely this will not be changed. It is also depressing that when creating a character you can see a very limited set of faces, hairstyles, colors and body modification of your character. Is this game from 2023 or it's game from 2003? Is it really so difficult to add a couple dozen unique faces, hairstyles, tattoos and other things? Everyone wants to make the most unique character that will be stand out from the crowd, but it's impossible to do this in this game, so we see just the same characters on the screen. I hope this will be fixed in the future and we will able to create a character of our dreams and realize all our desires in his goose. I also don't understand why the equipment that the character wears don't affect his appearance at all. What the— How can this be? People are willing to give hundreds of thousands of dollars in other games just to see a unique look on the character, and here even the new equipment that you put on the character does not affect its appearance in any way. Is this done so that people buy looks in the store for real money? Friends, it doesn't work that way. Tarisland is an MMORPG, not a MOBA like Dota 2, where you can choose a different hero every time and you just don't have time to get bored. MMORPG is hundreds and thousands of hours of playing for same character, so watching a crowd of identically dressed characters where quickly begins to bother everyone and interest in the game begins to disappear. That's how it works, and I think many of us know about it. Next, I want to talk about the quest that I met while I'm playing Tarisland. When I started playing my first character, it was interesting. When I started playing the second character, it was cool because I already know all the quests and I could quickly find and complete all the tasks, but when I started playing my third, fourth, fifth and more sixth character, it tired me so much that I even stopped playing for the Barbarian, since he was the last in the list of the classes being reviewed. It tired me so much that I even wanted to delete the game. I understand that most players will only play one character, but what will happen when patches and upgrades to the game begin? What will happen to people who want to change classes at a certain moment? It is really impossible to add a couple of quests for a specific class? Why is everything the same? Is it really so difficult to add class quests? A paladin could protect the city and the king, a barbarian could free his people from slavery, a magician destroys an unprecedented invasion of magical creatures, and the archer saves animals from the cataclysm of nature. Why is everything so monotonous and uninteresting? Where's the uniqueness? Maybe I'll open a secret for some viewers, but not everyone like going on raids and dungeons, especially with other players who don't understand what's going on and what they need to do. Why make it part of the quest chain? Why force someone to spend half of hour of time to suffer in a dungeon or raid? I know what I'm talking about, since I went to about 50 dungeons and 10 raids during on-closed beta. Of these, 90% were problematic, and I just had to endure the fact that other players do not understand how it works and what they need to do, and then they just leave the group and everything ends at a certain point. Since it is impossible to pass the dungeon in 3 or 4. I understand that this is a social game and you need to interact with other players, unite in clans and groups, but what if you first time came to such game and you don't have friends in it or a clan? At this stage, the suffering will begin, not the game. The most basic aspect of any MMORPG is PvP activity. There is no such activity in this game. Well, or almost none. In the open world there is no possibility of PvP, only a mutual agreement for a duel. And for the whole time on the game I only went out to a duel once, and then I didn't even understand what was going on first. I thought someone sent me a friendship request. If we're talking about the battlefield, then everything is a little more interesting here, but there are still problems. Firstly, if you are not a tank or a healer, you become the number one target, since the tanks and healers are almost impossible to kill even with all available forces. I say this with absolute confidence, since I played on the battlefield with all the available classes in the game, as well as on the channel you can find streams when I played Bard and Priest, went in the crowd of opponents and they just couldn't kill me. This also applies to Paladin and Warrior and Barbarian in a defensive stance. Well, that's not the worst thing about battlefields. The worst part is that the rewards for loser and winner is particularly the same. The loser gets 6 honor and the winner gets 10. Respectively, it was possible to meet people who just joined into the battlefield and stood AFK. In fact, they did not lose anything. Imagine that you are playing with your phone, you just accepted the application for the fight and put the phone aside. That's it. As a result, you will receive reward in the form of honor, and it doesn't matter that you did nothing. Accordingly, there should be a punishment for AFK on the battlefield, or at least a change in rewards for winning or losing in order to increase the motivation of the participants in the battle. 1 versus 1 arena is also planned, but I think it will be a complete failure given the survival rate of healers and tanks. Most likely everything will drag on for a very long time, until someone runs out of mana or he simply does not give up. Since it is not possible to kill a tank or a healer in 1 versus 1 fight, of course if he is not AFK or plays with his eyes closed. I will not say nothing about the bugs that we might have encountered on the closed beta test, since the closed beta exists specifically for this purpose in order to find these bugs. Report them and the developers eliminate them. Unfortunately, not everyone understands this. Well, it's always been and always will be. There is nothing you can do about it. Now, I want to say about those holes in the game that the developers do not want to admit. First, these are bots. They cannot be avoided. Firstly, there are coordinates on the minimap that will allow bots to move along a specific trajectory, bypassing all obstacles. This way they will be able to collect resources, trade on the market, and even craft items and sell them on the market. Believe me, it will be. I've been playing MMORPG for more than 15 years and I know what I'm talking about. Recently, one game has already died partly due to ignoring the bot problems. You may have heard of a game Mad World. That's exactly what led to the fact that at first the developers decide to cut the rewards for killing mobs, then they set a crazy commission for the transfer of items, and in the end they also finish it off with a crazy decision to lower the extraction of resources and enter quest in order to start crafting some high-level items. And the quest consisted of going to a dungeon with at least 3 or 5 players on high difficulty. Accordingly, solo players simply died out, and then everyone else left. It took 2 weeks for the game to die completely, and now it's empty. You can say that you don't get any reward from monsters in Tarisland, and bots won't affect the economy in any way. Friends, this is not true. When all resources and items start to fall in value due to the influx of bots, you will immediately understand why I am so concerned about this. Those who are engaged in bots have long understood how this can be used. Example: 10 accounts created. Character is created on each account and put on mining in a certain place. While he is mining resources around the clock, you are engaged in dungeons and raids. And at the end of the day, all resources are dumped into the clan that was created for these 10 bots. One main character comes in, for whom stamina potion is both or transferred through the clan bank. All resources to increase reputation are transferred or both on the market. He increased his reputation to the maximum in a day and lowered absolutely all profession to the maximum, which leads to the fact that he will be able to create absolutely all available high-grade equipment. How do you like such prospects? I think you wouldn't want to see this, but it will be as long as everything remains as it is at the moment. The second hole in the trading platform and the transfer of resources from one character to another. If for some reason you have not started transferring resources through the clan, you can still transfer them through orders on the market. How does it work? Easy. You create an order to purchase resources or item at the highest price available at the time of transfer, and on the second character you simply go to close this order. It turns out that you will spend gold on the market commission, and that's it. If you have several characters on your account, gold mining will not be a problem for you, since many players still do not understand how professions work and buy the items they need, especially not understanding how much a particular resource actually costs. I'm not making this up, I personally did it myself several times with ore on the closed beta test. There were no purchase orders at all, so I set the lowest price and successfully sold all the ore from another character for mere pennies to myself through orders. Now I would like to tell you about what happened on the closed beta test with the Assassin class. In which game before that could you see the developers themselves playing the game without hiding it? I think only if those cases when they wanted to show some novelty and tell about it. And what did we see here? Well, to be honest, it shocked me. Assassin is a class that was the most desirable for 90% of the game's audience. Everyone has seen the videos in which the assassin deals incredible damage in PvP and PvE, although he killed some AFK players or bots there who did not even beat him in return. But everyone was interested in this class anyway. And what did developers? They just started playing this class without telling anything about it to anyone, without showing gameplay. They just participated in the game and did not give anyone else the opportunity to look at this class and try it. How did it even occur to anyone? Do you think you are driving attention to the class in this way? No! In this way you show that you interfere in the gameplay without warning anyone about it and without informing anything. It's just beyond all the rules. I don't know how to describe my indignation when I saw this. Here I want to add that it was some kind of bug and it wasn't developers, but not bona fide players who were able to access this class. Then why didn't the developers do anything about it? Well, the last minus is the lack of any activity after getting the maximum available daily level. You just have nothing to do in the game when you got the maximum daily level. At the first, of course, you can go in search of chests or hidden treasures, some events, I don't know, but it will take a couple of days at most. Since even on my channel you can find a lot of videos in which I show where they are. But what to do when you have everything collected, you have completed daily task and you don't have work points? Go to the dungeon or raid? Well, this is only if you have a group with which you can go, since most raids on elite difficulty and in failure due to the fact that people simply do not understand what to do. They are too lazy to read and delve into what needs to be done at one time or another during the boss battle. Because they play from a mobile phone or tablet and there is no penalty or punishment for this. You just go to the dungeon and if you are killed, you just leave it. And after 10 minutes you go to another one. Okay, I think at this point I'm done talking about the problems of the game. Now a little bit about the positive aspects of the game. At the moment there is really no pay to win in the game, and this cannot but please, because this is the main slogan of the game. But I want to add that if even the slightest hint of this ever appears in the game, for example in the form of the sale of stamina potion for work points, this is starting to bother me. At this point I will leave the game for sure. And I can't say for sure how many more people will leave, but it will definitely lead to big problems with online on servers. The game is interesting, but most likely only because it's new and there is still content that many have not seen and content that will still appear. The game is beautiful and pleasant to the eyes. There are no problems with understanding the mechanics of dungeons or raids, of course if you read it, except for the font problems I mentioned earlier. If you read the in-game guide to the dungeons, you can go through it without any problems, as I said earlier. The game is more designed for people playing from mobile devices, and the mechanics simply cannot be more difficult for such players, otherwise they simply will not be able to pass such dungeons. As a PC player it's not pleasant for me to realize this, but it won't change for sure. Real money trade. I will attribute trading to the pros rather than the cons. Since money has always attracted and promoted many games, some games are still alive for this reason only, because some earn from them, while others buy what they need without wasting time on mining or completing a quest, raid or dungeon or leveling up. Real money trade has been and will be, and no one will be able to remove this from this game. Well, as you can see, the pros of the game are not so much compared to the cons. So we can only hope that the developers will come up with something truly new that will interest most players of the MMORPG genre. I hope that at least some more PvP activities will be added, the fight against AFK will be introduced, dungeons will become more complicated, restrictions on the transferring of items will be introduced, and the work of the trading platform will be fixed to remove the possibility of buying resources from yourself from one account. I hope that classes will be balanced specifically in PvP activities, since the gap between damage dealers and tanks with healers is simply incredible. Based on what was available to us on closed beta test, I can confidently say that the game will receive a huge outflow of players in about 2, maybe 4 weeks after their release, or even earlier. since there are many other new and even older MMORPGs on the horizon that have long since left this MMORPG model and live in 2023, not in 2007. That's it. I understand that this is not the kind of feedback you expected from me, but I'm saying what I saw personally and show you on my streams. Those who are on the streams could notice that already on 4th day of the game I had problems with the content. I just didn't know what else to show and tell about the game. If you like the video, put a like. If not, put a dislike. Don't forget to write a comment, maybe I missed something important for you. Don't forget to ask questions in the comments. I will be happy to answer them. And please share this video with your friends, it's not difficult to do, and for me there will be motivation to create similar reviews for other games. I wish you good health and best of luck. Goodbye.